Alright folks, so I'm doing this video. I don't really feel that good. If you guys wondered what has happened to us, we have been really sick. The last few days, all of us have been sick. The girls actually were off school for 2 days. Noelle called in finally today. She's been sick really the whole week. But yeah, it's been pretty rough. So I haven't done a video. I actually haven't had a whole lot of stuff to really talk about either. But I have other videos that are actually in the pipeline. I just didn't really release them. Just didn't feel like it. Just been feeling really crappy. But that's not what this video is about. And actually, 2 days ago was Zara's birthday. So I actually have that video of that, but just actually haven't had a chance to put it up yet. But I'm talking about this particular situation where on an airline called Thomas Cook, a lady was threatened to be kicked off if she didn't cover up because of her inappropriate outfit. Now, I look at this woman's outfit and I see absolutely nothing wrong. Now, people will say, well, you're a guy. No, I'm a guy that actually has nothing but women in their family. My mother, looking back even before my wife and kids, I was the only boy in the house. Now I'm a husband with 3 daughters. So, if anything, I'm more sensitive about women's issues than not. To me, this outfit is not a problem. What the problem is, and if you've noticed, every single time there's a situation where a woman is threatened to be kicked off or told that she needs to cover up or what have you on an airline, is when she's attractive. I mean, let's just be real. You never hear about someone, I'm sorry to say it, but I'm going to have to. If this lady was overweight and she wore this outfit, nobody would have said anything. If she was not as attractive as she was, no one would say anything. And the reason why is because they will be afraid of offending her. But because of the way that she looks, they're saying that she was a distraction. A distraction for who? Would be my question. First off, an individual should be able to wear whatever they want to wear. Right? I may not agree with it, but you should be able to wear whatever you want to wear as long as it's not something that's harassing other people, meaning racist crap. Excuse me. That, I draw the line in the sand, but even then, even though I completely disagree, they're allowed to wear whatever they want to wear. When it comes to outfits like this is not high school or middle school where the school can dictate what it is you should be able to wear. This is a paying customer. It's not just this airline, it's any airline. This is a paying customer who's an adult who is not wearing something that is that bad. I've seen women who wear, and this lady here doesn't have a really large amount of breasts. So the one time that I do talk about boobs, here's the opportunity where I talk about boobs. This lady didn't have really a large chest. I've seen women on airlines with very large breasts and revealing cleavage that shows by far more than what this lady is showing. I've seen people with just outfits and various different things that show by far more than what she's showing. Yet nothing is said about it. This one lady called into the radio station I was listening to and said that the lady in front of them, or actually the lady in her seat, was had on an outfit and her whole entire boob came out. Now, she was drunk. Her whole entire boob came out and nobody said anything. Now, I don't know what the lady looked like, but typically, in situations like this, I've never heard of someone who is not that appealing in terms of, and I guess this is judgmental, and it's beauty's in the eye of the beholder. But this is obviously an attractive person. You never hear about it when it's someone who's not really quote unquote attractive, I guess. You don't. It's disturbing because people are attracted to her. That's what the facts are. To me, you open yourself up for a lot of lawsuits because, again, she can point to and take pictures of random people at the airport, and you can see by far more revealing things than just her arms. What you see is basically a little bit of her arms, the upper part of her chest, or I'm sorry, a little bit of her stomach, the upper part of her chest, and her arms. It's a bralette, I believe. And then she's got, I don't know what type of pants those are, but they come up past her navel. The picture's in the thumbnail. So to me, that's not a big enough, that's nothing. To be honest with you, that's not something to be that big of a deal. To top it off, they were telling her she needs to either cover up or get kicked off the plane. She refused. And so then, of course, you have people who brown nose always because they think they're going to get them some sort of a little bit of a perk, or the airline's going to give them something. They're not going to give you nothing. I've seen people, when folks go through the TSA and they sit and body scan a 2-year-old and pat them down. When the parents get upset, you have a whole lot of other folks in the peanut gallery saying, well, but it's like, that's their child. So of course they're going to be upset about it. It's ridiculous. I get there's issues out there, but it's ridiculous. That's another issue, another story. But, there's some guy that's berating this woman, and meanwhile, the airline saying nothing. The representatives, the manager, not saying nothing. The guy's sitting here making horrible comments to this woman, and the airline says nothing. So to me, because don't sue the guy that was running his mouth because he has nothing. Typically, that's how it is. I would sue the airline. They have planes, so they have money. If I was this young lady, she's 21, I would basically pay for my college through this airline. Because there's nothing about what she's wearing that is illegal. It's not like she came on with a string bikini. There's nothing that she has that is showing anything other than her arms. There are people who wear stuff like this all the time, and I've seen it. I don't fly all the time, but I've seen it many a times. They may not be as appealing, but I've seen it many a times of people who wear things that some people will judge whether or not they should or shouldn't, but the reality is that they do, and nothing is said about it. And there's been other instances of women who are, again, very attractive, very fit, very in shape. They wear something that people are a little bit, it piques their interest, and they complain about it. So to me, it is a double standard because on one end, we've made a big deal about certain things that we really shouldn't have. And now it's where if anybody wears something that someone thinks is not appropriate, then they want to threaten to throw you off. But the problem with that is you're not being equal with what you're doing. In the eyes of the law, it's a little bit different because public opinion will say, well, the skinny girl that's a size 0 shouldn't wear that because she's looking a little too good. But the person that's a size whatever, we're not going to say anything because we're afraid of, being, offending them or fat shaming them or what have you. So they don't do it. They don't say anything. But in the eyes of the law, it doesn't matter what size. You could be a size 0 or a size whatever. Doesn't matter. If you're not going to equally say to the person that is 300 pounds what you're going to say to a person that's 100 pounds, it's discrimination. Now, they can spin it all they want and say, well, we do this equally to anyone. That's just, you don't hear about it. Doesn't mean that it didn't happen. But the fact of the matter is that she can still take pictures of anyone walking in that airport, and you're going to see people who wear stuff that shows by far more than what she's showing. It's as simple as that. And on top of that, how many men do you know are kicked off of airlines for inappropriate attire? I haven't heard of it. Not saying it doesn't happen, but it's never in the news. It's never something that you really and truly see. I've never seen it. Now I've seen some dudes wear some stuff or have body odors or what have you all the time, and nothing's really said about it. Now that may be offensive to a lot of people who have to sit next to them and smell them the entire way through the flight. I've seen parents, because we make sure our kids behave themselves. I see parents who allow their kids to kick the crap out of the seat in front of them and do everything else, yet nothing is done by the airline. The stewardess, nothing. They just allow that to happen. So for a whole 4 or 5 hours, you have to deal with a brat behind you kicking your seat and pushing against it and everything else. You would think that parents would have enough common sense to raise their children better and to be more respectful for people, but this day and age, I'm not trying to make this negative, but this day and age, there's a lot of parents that kind of suck when it comes to raising kids, in my opinion. There's a lot of them that just let their kids do whatever they want to do, and it doesn't matter if it offends someone else. I have a problem with that. Our kids, I'm not saying they're perfect, but we make sure they stay in their seat, they're respectful, keep your feet to yourselves, because other people in front of you paid with their hard-earned money. They paid for a flight to go someplace. And it's not just kids. There are even adults. I've seen adults do the same crap. I remember going to a flight, I think it was to Milwaukee, I can't remember. And there was a woman who was going there too with some colleagues. She was probably in her early 20s, directly behind us, popping her gum. And not just one pop, but she was able to make it pop like several multi-times in her mouth all at the same time. Like do 15 different little clicks. Constantly. And I'm like, you're a 20-something-year-old woman. And you're acting like you're 10. And I finally turned around and made eye contact with her because I'm thinking, you're pathetic, in my opinion. You're pathetic. If that's what you're doing, you obviously know that it's bothering other people. The plane was kind of quiet at that time because it's a long flight. Some people were trying to sleep. Our kids were trying to sleep. And so that our kids aren't going to be up and their ears hurting and screaming and crying, we try to bring them little activities and gum and different things. But then when you have someone who's a grown adult who should know different. Now, did the airline do anything about that? No. And to me, that's inappropriate behavior. They could have easily said, hey, and you could obviously hear it. It's not like you can't, because I went to the bathroom and still like 4 seats away, I could hear this woman and her gum. So again, I don't see the issue with this black strappy bralette that this lady was wearing and an orange pair of trousers. I don't see what the issue is other than she's guilty of being young and attractive. That's basically it. And fit. I don't know. You let me know what you think. I've never seen any other instance. You know, all the instances I've seen in the news, it's usually a young female who is attractive. Now, whether you personally view them as attractive, but I'm saying body-wise, that's, I mean, they're fit, they're in shape, they're attractive. And that's the only time you hear a complaint. The only time that I've ever seen. Now, again, it may not be newsworthy and maybe they've said something to other people, but I've been on enough planes many a times and I've seen a lot of stuff that people have worn. Nothing's ever been said about it. And I've never seen it in the news. If you've seen something different to say otherwise, hey, I'd be happy to see it and to take a look at it, but I haven't seen anything. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I will see you. Take care.